Well, good evening. Welcome to our club's annual education meeting. Now, according to our handbook, the nature, objectives, and purpose section of our club's handbook state that we shall support educational institutions in the club area through scholarship, grants, and mentoring. At this meeting, we review the club's education-related activities over the past year relating to these goals, celebrate any Cape and Island students admitted to MIT, and have our featured speaker give us an education-related talk. Our three main programs in furthering these educational goals are mini grants, teacher sponsorship to the MIT Summer Program SEPT, and freshman scholarships. And with that, I'll turn it over to Carol Bogin.
My name is Carol Bogin. I am giving you the official Education Committee report, which we do once a year. And mostly I want to thank people and give you a brief description of what we do. Okay, first of all comes the important part, and that's thanking people. The members of the club who are on the Education Committee are Carol, that's me, Steve Bratt, wave your hand. Dave Carey, also here, and Tom Scott. Now, the first three people on this slide are responsible for particular schools. So we've divided the Cape up into geographic sections, and we each do the part of the section near where we live. And Tom Scott makes sure that everything is paid for. Right. So, thank you as well. Okay, our major activities, as was just mentioned, are a scholarship for a Cape student who's admitted to the class of, we're now up to 2030. Some of us are not quite that young. Scholarships for high school teachers to attend SEPT, which is the main topic that we're going to talk about tonight, so I'll say very little about that. We also give book awards to high school juniors. Typically the science department identifies the student who, as a junior, is most interested or or actually the best science student. And we actually have somewhat of a track record of those kids getting into MIT. So that's kind of interesting. And then we do STEP mini grants to Cape and Island schools, which I will talk about the most. First, MIT class of 30, Danielle Lewis from Nantucket High was admitted, which is quite a bit harder than it was when we went, to the class of 2030. She's not here tonight because tonight is the awards night, senior night at Nantucket High School, so she had a considerable conflict. And she didn't quite say this to me, but she certainly implied that she's going to be the class valedictorian, so she thought she should be there. She's been awarded what we call the Lynn Brunel Scholarship. Lynn is not here tonight. Lynn is an MIT grad who has arranged to donate appreciated stock every year to the club, and it's 4 activities funded through MIT. So Danielle will be receiving the MIT scholarship, Brunel Scholarship this year. Anything more to say about that since you've talked to her recently?
No, that'd be a great student.
Right. I don't think we're told it yet. She's getting the scholarship. And it is in addition to any financial aid, if any, that you get from the Institute. So you can spend it as you like. We do a book award program where we have for many years now, because we haven't found anything better, distribute a book called Night Work, which is a history of hacks and pranks at MIT. You can read what it says there about it. It's funny. And if you haven't read it, I suggest that you do. And we all know what a hack, somehow hackers had taken on a bad connotation, but I think that it's really a favorable word that we're all happy to be hackers because it's ingenious, benign, and an anonymous prank or practical joke. We also give a certificate and it's a $100 gift card on Amazon, so we don't know what people do with that, but they seem to be happy when they write the thank you notes. Yeah, there you go. We do send along a list, which Steve put together, of suggested books, but we have no way to track to know that that's what they really did. Okay, SEPT, I'm not going to speak about very much because Janeth will speak about that in detail. It's the Science and Engineering program for teachers. It's held for a week in July at the Institute. It's full tuition, which is paid for by the scholarship monies at MIT. And two of the people who will be attending this year are Shona. You want to raise your hand? It's interesting. When we've had many emails through the years, but I've never met you, so we'll talk later. And Moses' last name is Gatua. Did I get that right? Could you just wave your hand? Okay. Congratulations. It's a great program. I think, as I said to you earlier, I'm not a teacher and I'm too old to go myself, but I think you're going to have a great time, and we'll learn more about that later. We do STEM mini grants, which are grants to each of the high schools and related educational institutions on the Cape and Islands. So it goes to the community college. This year, for the first time, we did Mass Maritime, 100-acre school at Heritage Museums and Gardens. Really wonderful school. Typically, the mini grants are used for things like robotics, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, lab equipment. They're used for trips. You can see the trip to the aquarium from Upper Cape Tech this year. Over on the left, I just absolutely love this picture. This is how you start in science. As a young kid who's at the 100-acre school, and you really carefully look at things. And you have to be vigilant and look carefully. So, now, robotics, big topic, and we have a special announcement to make about robotics. Many high schools now have robotics teams and host competitions, and they do something called VEX, which one of the students from Falmouth High, who is involved in robotics, said that the VEX competitions and the VEX robotics programs are more like Lego efforts, putting pieces together. They're still important. We still want to continue to fund them. But so the National VEX Robotics every year creates new games. So every year the schools teams that participate have to buy new equipment. And we oftentimes have funded that. About a third of the grants we do each year go to robotics competitions. There you see the robot from Sandwich High this year. Don't ask me what it really is or what it does. I'm sure it works very well. But whenever you see pictures of robotics things in these competitions, they always have like plastic toys or tennis balls that they have to fling around and get to the right place. Now, this is an announcement. In this Robotics on the Rise, we call this, but the Falmouth Robotics team, which is only 2 years old. Some of these VEX teams have been around for years, but this is a group that actually did their own engineering of a robotics program. It wasn't like putting Legos or Tinker Toys together. So this brand new team went to the worldwide robotics competition that was just held this year in Texas. This club, the people in this room, founded the initial investment in this group of students 2 years ago, which is really cool. The group is called the Regal Seagulls. It's in Falmouth. Seagulls. And just a couple of years ago, it had the 5 students when we gave them the first mini grant. But since then, they've gone to the worldwide championships in 2 years. Now, to prepare for this today, I Googled this entire activity and found that NPR, National Public Radio, did an All Things Considered program where they interviewed these kids because it's so unusual that such a brand new team would do so well so quickly. I'd also point out that they're from Falmouth. We know that Huey is in Falmouth, so it's possible that some of their parents are engineers. Here are the kids from Falmouth High that went to the robotics group.
In junior high, there's a couple kids from Lawrence.
Who, yeah? Oh, really? I didn't know that. Are you familiar with what they've done? Want to say a sentence or two? Oh, okay. Well, okay, so here we see the Regal Seagulls, and their robot is called Rory. And if you want, and if I can't explain what it does, I know that it's engineered, and they went this year to the worldwide FIRST competition. FIRST stands for inspiration and rejuvenation. Let me start again. For inspiration and recognition of science and technology. It's really cool that these kids did that this quickly. And my final slide is to say that we want to continue to support robotics teams. If you're interested in working with those robotics kids, we can set you up with a school near where you live. We also have opportunities to do a science fair judge. That's, a really powerful position. We want looking for people to all clearly volunteer to work with the club. We're going to ask you, I have to ask you to donate to the club and also to donate to MIT. MIT is facing some financial challenges, as I'll say, this year, in large part because of the big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to comment on politics, I promise. But they have to pay about 8.5% on the net income from each year from their endowment. Last year it was 1.5%, and it's gone up to 8%. There are, just a little bit off topic, but I think people should know this stuff. They're expecting 500 fewer graduate students this year than they did in the past. Let's just say international students are not coming to the extent that they used to. And in my own family, I have a young cousin who was doing biomedical engineering at MIT with a NIH grant, and that was cut. Yeah, well, he's going to leave. It's actually his grandmother, who's from LA, who's 95 years old, called me and said, "Don't let him quit." How am I going to do that? We'll find the money. Don't let him quit. And he quit anyways because the lab is closing. That's not such an unusual situation. Considerable cuts were made to some departments. About 10% of the annual budget is what has to be paid in additional taxes as a result of the new taxation levels on the investment income. It's quite a bit of money. But so far it has not reduced the amount of financial aid that people receive. And the Institute is really does quite a good job of funding students so that despite their family finances, they can attend MIT. My personal concern is that this is a problem for science education and respect for scientists in general. And that's the last thing I'm going to say. So if you want to donate to MIT, this is a particularly important time to do it. If you want to donate to the MIT Club of Cape Cod, that is also appreciated. And finally, Tom Scott, who's here behind the camera there, will tell you that if you want to speak about this, Tom, you actually created this slide for me last year. The club is a 501c3, so all donations to the club are tax deductible. There are ways you can make a donation whenever you whatever you do online for membership renewal or event registration. Tom will take checks, he takes cash, whatever you want to give him. But perhaps more importantly, as we funded the major scholarship program, you can transfer appreciated stock to the MIT Club. And we can help you with the paperwork for that. And just think about it. I'm sure many people in this room have RMDs every year. And you may want to take a portion of your required minimum distribution and give it to the club. So that's all I have to say, unless Tom wants to say anything further. I call on people, you know. Our next
Carol,
speaker.
could I just add something to what you said with regard to the required minimum distribution? When you cut off a slice of that, that is not taxed. So it becomes a tax benefit to take that money out of your RMD and make a donation.
Right. I used the word, I believe, tax deductible incorrectly. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Carol.